Hello, my name is Inga Šīna. I represent Latvian Employers Confederation, and we are social partner of this project. As it is appeared yesterday or the days before, Latvian Employers Confederation now is involved in very similar project according vocational education. It is European fund project with very, very long name, development of a sectoral qualification system and improvement of the efficiency and quality of vocational education and training. Yes, the project started on December 2010 and it will last till August 2014. The major goal of this project is to form a permanently working system providing proper content of vocational education to meet development needs of the sector, or easy saying, how to improve quality and efficiency of vocational education according to the business. And if we are talking about success stories, I want to share with you my experience in this project. There are two success stories out of the existing projects, and I can name them as collaboration and sectoral experts councils. What I mean by collaboration? Oh, it's maybe yes. Thank you. As we see now, after almost 3 years working on vocational education and business needs, I have to say that it was the first time when three sides, the state, the employers and the employees, sitting together at the same time, at the same table, and talking and working working issues about education. And it's a great, great success because before there was absolutely no, good relations between state organizations or good connections between state organizations and employers. And the holder of this project is National Education Development Agency. No, it's just the previous time on the state side. And agency collaborates with Latvian Employers Confederation and Free Trade Union Federation. And if you can just below, no, just back. Yeah, it was this one. And then I want to mention and describe sectoral expert councils, what it is. And it is very popular abbreviature now in Latvia, NEP in Latvian, Nozaru ekspertu padomes. And what it is. In 2011, project identified 12 sectors, and in each of them we established expert councils. And these councils combine experts from different enterprises who are interested in education and sectoral development in general. And now we have 12 active councils in different sectors, such as engineering, wood processing, transport and logistics, printing, tourism and beauty, chemical industry, textiles, agriculture, business and accounting, etc. And what these councils doing? Now councils are working with structuring of professional qualification, developing of professional standards, assigning experts for expertise of programs, contents of programs and exams. And of course, now councils are deeply involved in the process of working out new law of vocational education and in process of discussion about education based on practice. Now councils are also nominate accreditation experts and qualification exam experts, and Afterwards, councils collect and keep this information updated. I would like to point out very essential council activity. Last year, they gave assessment of study programs and numbers of the students in vocational education. It's a great success because it's a business approach. Some words about modular system. Expert councils working on introducing in vocational education modular system. Yeah, it's a modular approach. You can see it here. It means, generally, a student acquires skills once and later on just improve or update his or her knowledge to get specialization or related profession. Before this approach, councils distinguish basic and related professions and specializations. And that's why now it's very, very easy. If you get education in one profession, you get a profession, and then you want to work in a parallel or a similar profession, you can just study additional subjects, but not to start from the beginning. And it's very, very important, especially for, not maybe for young people, but for people who are in business now and who are workers now, and who wants to change their specialization according to the business needs or to the sectoral needs. This approach makes acquisition of new skills much easier and cuts the time, obviously. So once again, the main idea of modular approach is that the modules once acquired will not be learned again when a person wants to get related profession or specialization. You can see here it's a profession 1, then you have different skills, the next which you need, and lifelong competencies, they are staying forever. And at the next slide we can see one small example. It is a sectoral model map for profession transport operator, and we can see this yellow color. It's a subject, compulsory subject, then special subjects, and then in beige, or what it is, it's also depending on the profession, what do you have to acquire at the beginning and what you have to acquire or study when you want to change your profession to the very similar or just to specialize to something. As a result of the project, we have a huge interest from business side to vocational education, and it's of course a great success of the project. And possibility and experience how to work together, employers, employees, and businesses on educational issues. So that's what I wanted to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Inga, very much for sharing your experience in UBC, and I think that the case of which you shared is really important also in the lifelong learning. We were talking yesterday. And so my job would be today to give a brief report on the results of the session yesterday about the criteria. And yesterday experts agreed on the short list of criteria of each of the areas and each of the broader scopes of criteria. Please, next slide. And next one. Next slide, please. And here you can see that we are going to gather the case studies in the following fields: the research and development, the commercialization, the lifelong learning, curriculum, mobility and governance. And success criteria were set in the following areas: the rationality, which means the rationality behind the case, because we're not talking about the institutional development, but about how could case studies be selected as the success stories. Then the formal aspects of the cooperation. Is the cooperation agreements in place? Is this cooperation can be acknowledged as the formal cooperation? The financial aspects, investment made, income for the university, proportions, contributions, the divide among the contributions, mutual benefits. Also the human capital aspects. To what extent one or another party is devoting its human capital, know-how, the competence, and the mutual cooperation. Of course, the marketing and communications, the goals, the strategy, if any, internal, external, scientific, or for the general public. And also, what is one of the most important things in this project, the lessons learned, as the UBC project is meant to be the tool how other partners, the universities or businesses, can succeed in the university business cooperation. Thank you very much for yesterday's session, and I would like to ask the first expert roundtable to take their seats. This roundtable will be held for the topic financial aspects. Private funding. Is the funding driving the UBC or not? What kind of funding? And what is the structure of the funding and UBC cooperation here in Latvia and elsewhere? Please, experts, take your seats.
Nē, mums te būs vēl 5 krēslas, 6. Uz 5. Viss kārtībā, jā. Okay. Okay.
Thank you very much for coming here to share your experience, and I would like to ask all of you for the initial statement, approximately for 2 minutes, on the funding, on the topic funding driving UBC no matter what. Is it so? Is it important? Is this the most important thing, and how can we drive UBC in a much more efficient way than it's now or than we expect today? Please, Petteri.
Okay, thank you. Money is important, if that was the question in this matter as well. And please. So the universities, they are one of the, I was thinking of taking the investor's point of view here. And obviously the university business cooperation takes many forms. Research, commercialization, business development, lifelong learning, and so on. What I had in mind was mainly for the commercialization and joint research projects and maybe business development as well. The financial landscape in lifelong learning can be somewhat different. But the universities are definitely one financier, but they are rarely the sole or the main financier. They may invest something, typically only a fraction of the total costs. But then the next financier is the businesses, industries. They should, in this project, I'm thinking they should always be there. Not necessarily the main financier either, but often it can be that they are the sole financier or paying the most of the cost. But then there are public bodies who are involved in the in these projects. There are international EU-funded or EU funds which can be exploited. In Finland we have national financiers, especially the Technology Development Agency of Finland, which is encouraging universities and the businesses to operate together in the field of applied research, and they are providing funding up to 70% of the costs of those projects. And then obviously in some cases, especially in the seed funding and commercialization, the private equity, or why not public equity, also in some cases very essential to get those research results out and start the businesses. And finally, we should think also the non-monetary contributions. It can be access to infrastructure, it can be in-kind work without payment, and so on. But these are, from these sources I see that we can get the kind of consortium of financing the operations. Weight can be different in different cases. Thank you.
Thank you. This was an opinion from the Turku University, and we will proceed with Sandis Kolmenskis and the Skvalio for the initial statement.
Thank you, Elina. So good afternoon for everybody. And right, so just on a slide about what we are and what we do. So we are in I would say in a case study, a result of university, international vendor, and money cooperation. So basically we have gone through that process, what we are discussing, which consists of investment from all bodies. And here I would like put some basic directions on a table. We have gone through our learnings, I would say this way. So here the name of the slide is joint governance, and I would say money is usually a good accelerator, but this is not an only accelerator, and without money, well, you need an idea, but very often you need to govern these ideas together with the money and as with the knowledge what you get. So, and here the question is where you get an access to this money, whether you announce that you have money and then you start to collect ideas, or you start to define the leads, qualified leads, and then you provide the money. So, and the example of Skvalio is that basically we started from the qualifying, so we qualified, and then actually we're looking for the money. So this is the question when you are looking for the money, and then most probably when you are ready with your idea, you know much better which funding you have to approach, whether that's university, some funding, some venture capital, or something like that. And another important topic what I would like to add to that is scalability. That size of money, or there is such a question like clever money and money. So, and usually clever money is meant for scalability, because with the clever money you get additional ideas or the sales channels, so you get advice, industry expert advice, where you have to develop your idea, and you get as well the advice where you have to sell these ideas, so where are your customers. So another topic which is important when we talk about money is so-called clever money, so that money is coming with some advice about where you have to do this investment and where is your customer. So thank you.
Thank you, Sandis, and we are glad to have the director of the Latvian Guarantee Agency here, and I suppose it will be an interesting statement from the state.
So I'm a representative of a state sector here. We tend to think about ourselves as financial managers for the state, and our main task now is to make sure that the money is available in all stages of the project or idea development. We all know by our experience that there is a lot of money at the mature stage of the project development, which is the stage where the cash flow can be foreseen and calculated and the cash flow is stable. So the banks and other financial intermediaries that work at the level of the mature companies, there are a lot, and they are willing and looking for the projects which fit their risk profile. However, if we look at the very early stages, would it be at the moment where the idea comes out from the university, from the heads of, from the bright minds of academia, the money probably is not that available. So the Latvian Guarantee Agency makes sure that the money is available at the whole spectrum of the idea development, starting from the very early, would it be incubation, pre-seed, seed money, and going through to the venture capital, growth capital. And of course, we focus also on the very late stages, but that's probably not the topic of today's discussion. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and we will proceed with Mārtiņš Jaunarais, the investment director at Baltcap.
Hello. I never knew you can get glare by sun at late November in Riga, but apparently you can. So, but it's good, I guess. So, hello everyone. My name is Mārtiņš Jaunarais. I represent private equity and venture capital firm Baltcap, which is established in '95. We have a bit more than 100 million euro under management. We have 2 venture capital funds, one for Latvia specifically, one for Lithuania. Latvian Guarantee Agency is our largest investor in our Latvian VC fund. We have done, since 2010, in the Latvian fund, we have done 12 investments. Maybe you could show the next slide. So in terms of the industries where we are present, so about a third of the companies are in information technology. So those are enterprise software companies. Then we also manufacture electronics, and we are in wood processing, metal processing, and in construction sectors. Please, next slide. So in terms of the competences from the workforce that we require in our portfolio companies lately, there's a huge demand for software engineers. Sales and marketing internationally is a big challenge for our companies. Graphical design, so since we're dealing with user interface, web-based solutions, so design is an important aspect. I mentioned electronics, and now due to some tragic events, the civil engineering has become a bit infamous, but we rely quite a lot on civil engineering expertise in our portfolio. Please, next slide. I would like to mention a few successful examples where our companies have cooperated with universities, and one is Primex in particular, which started as a contractor in flooring, and with the help of Riga Technical University and some Scandinavian universities, this company is, I can say, at the cutting edge of the concrete, fiber concrete technology. Here what you see is actually a floor in, I think it's in postal office of Norway. Many floors over the last 3-4 years have been built in Scandinavia using this fiber concrete technology. Next slide, please. So another example is a Cluster Point, which is a database management software company. They are using expertise of University of Latvia in developing various mathematical models and then certain innovations in working with big data. Next slide, please. And our 2 portfolio companies, actually, Euro LCDs and Hanzas Elektronika, are working very closely with Ventspils Universitāte, where we are actually hiring students from University of Ventspils who are studying electronics. So these 2 companies that I mentioned are manufacturing, one is manufacturing liquid crystal displays, and another is contract manufacturing electronics, so circuit boards and things like that. Next slide. So, short conclusion from our perspective is that, first of all, universities and academia can increase the competitiveness of businesses. We have experienced that ourselves in our portfolio. For that to happen, initiatives should come from both sides. So first of all, businesses should seek for this competitive advantage through better technology. So they should seek for the help also from universities, and the universities in turn should do their research in areas that are currently hot topics in business, which then also creates potential for cooperation with businesses. Thank you.
Thank you very much for not only giving us the initial statement, but also giving us some additional success stories, and I hope that we will see some else in the assembly next year. And now the Matis from the University of Latvia will give us some picture of innovation infrastructure in Latvia and the funding sources.
Thank you. My name is Matis Neimanis, and I'm Director of Innovation Center of University of Latvia. So maybe the next slide. Yeah, that is quite interesting picture. I have tried to put on the one slide how does look like innovation infrastructure in Latvia. There are quite difficult to read, but at the bottom of the picture you can see there are a lot of organizations working in different stages, and what I think it's a good, actually in all stages, in pre-incubation and incubation, and in the maturity phase, there are several organizations helping new businesses, accelerating them. And all of these organizations, more or less, they have some funds, they have some competencies. And in general, I could say we have quite good innovation infrastructure in Latvia. What is the challenge? Sometimes the links between these organizations in different stages are not strong enough. So, and let's hope in the next years these links will be developed much stronger, and we will have really bright success stories. That's it.
Thank you very much. And it seems that there is funding available for the University Business Cooperation. That's why I would like to show you 2 slides before we start the discussion. The research in the European universities shows that the top 4 barriers for the UBC is the lack of external funding, lack of financial resources, lack of university funding for the UBC, and the business lack awareness of universities' research activities and offerings. At the same time, you can see in the slide that the funding reforms in the higher educational institutions are not the top priority. So my question would be how the business or how the matchmakers could help, or there is any help needed at all, or how the university business cooperation could be strengthened, taking into account the feeling of lack of funding, but also lacking the reforms at the same time.
Okay, about a few words about that. Lack of funding, yes, in some cases I would say that lack of targeted funding, so that it's what we've experienced in Finland at least, and the research shows same is happening in some other countries, that you will get a funding for the research, applied research, even for the pre-seed stage. And then again, later when there is a business established and you can show some pilot cases and some customer base. But we have a finance gap there in between, and that's not the problem only for us, it's internationally recognized. And the idea has been, or the corporate finance researchers are claiming that business angels would fill that gap, but that's unlikely to happen in many countries simply because there isn't enough wealthy individuals to do it. So in some universities they have established funds, private public funds, in order to provide funding for these cases. Some large universities in what we have been benchmarking, like Oxford and Leuven in Belgium, they have several funds for different purposes, and they are raising the money mainly from the private sources, but partially from the public sources. That might be a something to do for the Baltic University as well. It can be that one university like Turku is too small target group. We should have a consortium of several universities and raise fund to operate in this consortium. That might be a tool to assist in this sense.
So just let me continue the thought I said before. So this is pretty much like a chicken and an egg, because, well, when we say there is no money, so the people from the, well, investors say there is no ideas to invest. So this is, well, it depends from which side you look at, okay? And usually if there are great ideas, I believe money will come as well. So, and in this scenario, I would say that perhaps this matchmaker, well, there are not so many matchmakers who can pull together these great ideas and the money. So, and I think that's a great thing to turn attention to this matchmaking, the professionality, or actually the capacity of this matchmaking at all. Because I believe that there are ideas, and we believe there is money, because we hear a lot about that. So that investors say, well, we have a difficulty to find ideas, because they say that we have money, at least in Latvia that's the case, we hear very often, so that we have money, we have reviewed 300 ideas and we have found no idea where to invest. So perhaps, well, the criteria is wrong or something is wrong, how these matchmakers are looking at these ideas. And here I would say that I wouldn't concentrate so much on the money, so whether it's not enough in a seed level or it's not enough already on the venture capital level. I would concentrate more how actually we can add the value to this money. So we say that this is not a simple money, but this is so-called this clever money, so that we add this knowledge, marketing and sales knowledge, that money, what we offer, it's not only money, but this is money with some knowledge, and then, well, we have to find these matchmakers who could bring us to these ideas. So all three, what I wanted to say, all these three building blocks are important. So we can not only focus on the money. Thank you.
Yeah, I can agree with what you said. Interesting thing about money is that there's always not enough of it. So irrespective of the amount that you will have, it will be not enough, that's for sure. And from investors' perspective, and probably also to some extent the guarantee agency might have the same feeling or experience that there is too much money chasing too few good investment opportunities. So it's not so much a question of the amount of money that is available. The question is about the content, because I'm sure that if there is a good team with a good idea and good execution, there is all the money in the world that is available to them. It's not we're not small. We're not closed economy, so we can access funding in Europe or in the US or elsewhere. We are seeing investors on a regular basis who are just scanning the area, the Eastern Europe, and trying to see if there are interesting investment opportunities out there. So the question is if businesses can work together with universities, in creating these not just ideas but commercialization of ideas with a practical application, creating value for be it consumers or businesses, whatever. And when there will be content, money will be plenty.
Thank you. And Matis, we were discussing previously about the possibility of joining all the members everybody saw today in the slide under one umbrella. I mean the managerial aspects. Could you please?
Yes, if we remember the slide where I was visualizing all infrastructure, then talking about the available finances in general, yes, there are a lot of money for innovation, for different kind of activities. What is the challenge is, in some stages there are, let's say, too much organizations that are facilitating the working with new business ideas and giving some support for them. And all these small organizations, most of them are NGOs, for example, in stage of pre-incubation, and they're fighting for maybe the same, for a small amount of money, and not fighting for small amount of money, but fighting for the amount of money, and each of them gets some small amount. And nobody of these organizations has critical mass of ideas or critical mass of investors. And yes, the idea was that maybe there are one-stop shop, for example, the organization that are some central organization that are managing a lot of activities implemented in, for example, in universities, managing these technology transfer contact points, because it's from my experience that sometimes these technology transfer contact points in all universities, they are competing with each other. And from my point of view, it's not effective competition. In this level, there should be some coordination and some cooperation, not competition. But maybe this is a little bit longer story about this one-stop shop and how it should be maybe implemented.
And Mr. Gols, do you see the point of creating such a, let's say, one-stop agency for collecting the ideas or the projects to be funded?
There should be diversity in the market. And the one-stop agency probably should be available in order to provide the information, to educate about the possibilities, perhaps to consult on the best ways, but I'm believing in competition forces in the market, because I come from that environment, and as much as it is dissemination of information, yes, when it goes to the financing, then probably different funds have to compete, and that's what we are doing in the LGA, that we are investors in 8 funds now, so and we seek good, healthy competition among them.
Thank you. And Petri, as a representative from the university, how would you respond on the statement that we are lacking ideas instead of funding?
Yeah, well, the amount of ideas is of course limited as well as the amount of money, and exploitable ideas are of course even more rare. I wouldn't say that we have exploited fully the ideas or the research results or the outcomes of the university work. But what is clearly a challenge is the team building, so that we would have a persons suitable to run those, to develop those ideas, and to maybe to bring them into market. It's quite obvious that hardly none of the researchers is capable for that. So we have to find other persons. Researchers are involved, yes, and I haven't, frankly, I have been talking about this subject with several university representatives, and there seems to be no clear solution for this. I know that in Oxford they have these internal entrepreneurs who can be involved in the projects and I know some universities are using external advisors or experts and paying their fees for them to start the process, but we believe in a kind of innovation champions who are really taking that project for themselves and going further. What we are doing in our center is that we are providing the training and education in the field of entrepreneurship, innovation development, business creation for students and researchers in other disciplines. So, of course, we can't train them to be entrepreneurs, but we can at least affect their skills and maybe to raise the mindset of entrepreneurial thinking. So, to answer your questions, good ideas are rare, but we haven't fully exploited all the ideas we have. Partially because universities are not good enough to market and promote their ideas and pitch them, and we are learning that.
Regarding the team or managerial aspects, Sandy, do you think that entrepreneurship can be learned, or it's rather the mindset, or what is the mechanism of internal, external, from your experience, the best possible tools for joining the team? If there is an idea and there is funding, probably.
Right, so I believe in your question you touched many aspects. So if you say about if you can learn, I think you have to learn all the time. Even in the cases where you have to, teach somebody else, you are learning by teaching as well sometimes. But well, it's I think it's a set of the things, and I would say this is not a one-man show. I think this is a set of the team, and it's very important. So when we talk about ideas, what Petri said, it's a question of qualifying these ideas. So basically we talk a lot that there have to be a good cooperation when you create some ideas. So there have to be business, there have to be university, some research, so to come up with a good idea. But there's not necessary always to come up with a good idea. Perhaps you can be good on finding these ideas as well. And for this reason, I believe the same knowledge should be brought together as well. So to qualify these good ideas, they have to come together, university and the business people. Well, perfectly it would be global and the local business people. And referring to what Petri says, so how to utilize that university, well, ideas which are not realized yet in university. This is about this teamwork that we set this qualifying initiative of these ideas, and we work together with university for the existing ideas, and we try to find out, what and how we can do. And in this scenario, this is not about that every university person should learn entrepreneurship. So the university person should do what they do, but they have to partner with the people who know how to find these ideas, or actually select these ideas. I'm not talking about innovating new things, but I'm more talking now about how to select from the bunch of these hundreds of ideas of doctor thesis or whatever they are, or master thesis, very often are good ideas of something, how to find the right ones, and the teamwork should be set there. And I think this is the fastest way to the goal, by setting the teamwork, not like becoming as a one-man show, so learning everything on your own.
Thank you. Yeah, sure.
Regarding whether entrepreneurship can be learned, yes, of course, it's just a set of skills that can be learned. I think the main focus should be on the drive of a person, whether a person has intellectual curiosity to discover things, to learn something, and something new, to develop things that can help save the world or improve the world, or a person is thinking about getting rich, getting filthy rich. And the question one should ask oneself, what do I want to do? Do I want to simply maintain my lifestyle? and earn money for that, support my family, support my hobbies, or do I want to and continue with the scientific work? Or and then in that case, a person should be looking for more for a grant type of funding. Or a person wants to have idea, develop the company, commercialize that, sell that company, and use the proceeds to take another idea, his or perhaps an idea from a university or another place, and develop the next company and sell the company and earn the living or earn his or her wealth in that way. That's probably a question of a drive a person has. But entrepreneurship as a set of skills can be learned.
Thank you. Anyone to add?
Yeah, I would. I agree with Sandis that we should have a specialization. We should have teams for the business to succeed. But I very much like the idea that engineers should be given some course on entrepreneurship in general. Because if an engineer has an idea that he or she is passionate about, then that person is the best entrepreneur to bring that idea to life. Because experience shows that for an early stage company, there's nobody else than the founder or inventor who can be the evangelist of the idea, who can have sufficient passion to go through the difficult period of a startup stage. And I'm a bit skeptical that you can hire someone who would do sales for a startup company where you still don't know what is your product or service and who are your customers and so on. So I would actually encourage engineers to become entrepreneurs, and then they can hire whatever help they need, be it legal, accounting, general administration, and whatsoever. And there are plenty of successful examples globally when engineers have become ultra-successful businessmen.
That's true. And the last question for all the experts would be, do you see new funding mechanisms coming in the future, the ones we are not explored now, new ways or completely new sources of funding, I don't know, after 20, 50 years?
To make it short, in 50 years, definitely. But in a near future, maybe some new variations of the what we have now, and maybe also what the companies or the large companies have already started. They are not investing in equity, but they are investing in the research results, access to research results directly. That might be something which we will see more and more. Qualcomm they have a program, for example, for this kind of operations, mainly with the small companies rather than with the universities, but maybe it will spread to the university operations as well.
Generally speaking, I think that private sector investors are seeking for safer bets for shorter term returns, which means that if we are looking for incremental innovations, then those might be financed by private sector. But if we want to have quantum leaps in whatever industry in terms of technologies, then I think there should be long-term government support through education, through funding for maybe startup companies, for groundbreaking stuff to happen.
Thank you very much for sharing your experience, and I invite you to stay here for the second roundtable, which will be held in for the storytelling, but before that I see that, yes, you have a question, so well, just speak in the mic.
Everything is about return on investment. Everything is about what's in it for me, even for the venture capital, even for the EU, university, and even for me, if I should do something. That's why I have a question for Mr. Gotts and Jan Juarias. Yeah? Are the university getting too far away from the market? You said that if it's in the market, we have a problem, we want to solve it. Are the university getting too old-fashioned? Are they really in the market? Are they looking at the right problems? Are they, when you see all the projects who are coming in your area?
Well, generally, I think that universities are too general and theoretical about the issues that they're studying or researching. So I think there's not enough, let's say, feet on the ground approach, where you take a particular problem that is out there, that is currently not solved by businesses, and that you work on as a university. So if we saw more of that, then I think that naturally businesses would start more actively seeking the cooperation, looking for new ideas, because currently it's not the first thing that comes into mind, kind of calling someone at the university to look for new ideas in your industry. But that should become the way.
I have not much to add. Martin has said what I just wanted to say. Yeah, I think more awareness within the business community that universities and the bright minds of students in academia can help solve the problems. And perhaps with the research part, it's all okay.
I just want to add some why the situation is so that maybe not so many ideas are coming from universities. The challenge is that actually there are a lot of results of research, very interesting, but there is lack of funding to turn these results of research into some kind of product, at least on prototype level. So, and sometimes we have something interesting, but we can't put it on the table because, yes, for this proof of concept phase, there is not so much funds available.
I just want to add a short comment that from my point of view, if the universities, for all the history they have, were looking to the problems in the market, only to the problems in the market, we would still be riding horses, because only with the fundamental research that universities really have to do, we have those real breakthrough innovations that makes us to be here and to go with the cars, to use computers and so on. So I am very against when business is saying that, well, universities not enough looking what are the problems in the market. So if you have a problem in your business and you can say that you have this problem, so please just come and every university will help you to solve it. So it's maybe very much this looking to each other and not communicating and saying that, well, you are not doing something and you are not doing something. So.
I think that with this last comment about not communicating or communicating, we are proceeding with the roundtable on storytelling, which from the yesterday has gained new participants, and I would like to thank all the experts from the financial roundtable, and now invite the experts from the storytelling to take their places. Thank you. So I welcome the Storytelling Roundtable, and there is a Capo from the Turku University, the Henrika from the SMK University of Applied Social Sciences, the Monica from the Vilnius University, Gatis from the Makan Worldwide Riga, and the Elizabeth from the Stavanger University. And I invite you, all of you, to give the initial statement on the importance of the storytelling. We already yesterday and also in these discussions and the financial roundtable somehow moved to the networking and storytelling and marketing and communications perspectives. So I believe that this is the right place and right time for us to be here and discuss this question. So Capo, please.
Thank you, Elina. Hello, everybody. My name is Kaapo Seppälä, and I'm from the University of Turku Business and Innovation Development. Actually, Petteri Sinerva just presenting his views from the same chair. We are close colleagues. This is a very important and interesting topic also for me as a researcher. The use of storytelling in the university and business cooperation. As we all know, the storytelling has been widely used for decades, mainly in the consumer business, in order to improve the customer loyalty, and especially in the retail market, airline businesses, alcohol businesses, and so on. So the use of this approach is widely accepted and used. However, if you think about using this concept in the university business cooperation, I'm going to take a little bit broader stance, a different or broader angle on this, because I think that we have to keep in mind that, especially if you think about the technology transfer, so we have to market the university's resources to outside world, to businesses, so there we can use the storytelling. But we can also broaden the scope of storytelling in order that it also covers the rationale of the individual researchers, researcher groups, and research facilities inside the university, in order that they actually realize their capabilities and chances to increase their input in the university business cooperation.
Thank you. And now, Elizabeth, I know that you have the wish to say something about storytelling.
Thank you. I think the storytelling is storytelling even for the capital too. If you have a good story, it's easy to get money too if you can tell it in the right way. For me, it's about money or resources. It's about the success you have made or will make, and about people. People are telling the story. We are the story. I think that's very important to have. And if you have that, you have a selling point. I'm just going to show you. You don't understand anything because in Norwegian, but both these two pictures were yesterday in the news. And I told you today about the story. And it's about what happened, how much money we earn, the university, and the person that took the classes, what his story is, even about his wife, his kids, he get a new career. So if you do that, if you find the right people that have a story to tell in your concept, I think you are on the right way to even getting money for your fundings too. And I think that's something the university have to think about when they're going out, even if they're making new subjects, even if they're telling the story about their own university, like in Stavanger, we have to tell the story. Why will you go to the University of Stavanger? We have to start already there. And then we have to tell all the stories about our success to become the university. And then people start looking at us, and people want to play. And if you can find your biggest topic, put them together, and you tell the story, I think you will succeed in many different ways. And just because of this story, we get funding for doing other subjects. Like yesterday too, on the board of the university, we get funding to do a new master thesis. So I think one success make a new success, and you have to make the story along with it. And if you are a good storyteller there, if you can find the criteria, and I think, like I said, money in Norway, money is one except, but it can also be the research, like your own involvement in it. You have people, I think us as people, because university is the main capital is people. Then you have your story. Because we are different from alcohol and airplanes, and so we have to find real people to tell a story.
Thank you very much. And Gati, you have made a lot of stories, I believe, but have you done any story regarding the university business cooperation, and what do you think about our expertise to create successful stories? Not to create the cases themselves, but the success stories as a storytelling success stories.
Well, first of all, I'm very glad to be here, and thank you, Aileen, for inviting me, because I somehow represent the dark side of commercial communication, which is advertising. So it's sort of Darth Vader, army trooper or something. And I want to reflect, first of all, I was saying that I believe that students and universities probably have a lot to say about alcohol business, as I believe that they do consume alcohol a lot in Finland as they do in Latvia. But, well, it's not the case here, is it? I would like to show you one of the slides, if we can just... Yes, this is a quote by William F. Gibson, who is a science fiction author, and I thought if we're to speak of the subject of storytelling, that I should have a quote. And this is my favorite, and it says that basically all things have been invented, it's just that we don't know about them because they're probably in a different field, or the next building is it somehow, or in the next silo, if it's a business or some kind of organization. And I'm a bit confused, actually. I'm very confused lately because I don't really understand what kind of industry I'm working in, because it used to be advertising. Now it seems that we're doing products, we're doing designs, we're doing investments, we're doing scholarships, and we keep coming up with these things, or we are supposed to come up with these things. And again, to reflect to the previous discussion and talking about the initial statement, which I have to make, there was a lot of talking about the description of the kind of ideas that we would like to have for the investment to come. As it was said that if it's a good idea, emphasis on the good, then money will come. And I think that the issue here is that I believe we've been focusing too much on certain disciplines as opposed to being interdisciplinary. Because just as communication is not just about advertising, it's about creating a lot of stuff. I think what we need to have for the story to be told, and I really like one of the speakers from the previous discussion said that engineers, I think it was Martin who said that engineers should have a course in entrepreneurship. And I think that this is the case, that my initial statement is that we need to have interdisciplinary programs in universities and this kind of approach to have businesses want to invest, because this is what the businesses are looking at, with a special emphasis on communication being embedded in whether it is research, whether it is a product developed, or whatever it may be that the university can contribute. And I believe that just as university and a scholarship can become a good communication concept, and I've seen one of those, just as the same principles can be applied to general cooperation as well. So I believe that universities have a lot of potential of creating things that have communication embedded in them for the investment to take place.
Thank you. And now Monica, as head of the Department of the Commercialization, do you see it as an important aspect for your job?
Can I have my slide? Okay. So my point of view in general, as the colleague said already, that the people are the main issue we have at the university. And if we want to tell any story about the university, about our capabilities, about what we do, about what we offer. And I'm talking not only that we tell that for business, but we also tell that for the future students, for the whole society. The object that we have, the selling point that we have, or I even say the brand that we have, are our researchers. So with this slide, what I wanted to show a very simple example. Maybe these people don't mean anything to you, but these are the main researchers from our Institute of Biotechnology. And Lithuania is really strong in biotech and has a very long history. And each of these people, they represent a different field of biotech. And the thing is that if you say, for example, for the company that works in specific biotech field that, well, we have a product or we have a service like this, and the company says maybe it's not something I really need, but then you say, you know, it's from the lab of this and this professor, then the company reacts that, oh, then it means it's something really worth. Can you tell more about it? And I really see that in this field where we are really strong, we are really building like our stories for the whole stakeholders groups. I'm very happy when I see the stories about these people in public media, in journals even for ladies, like the life story of one of the researchers. And you find out that it's a very interesting person. Also, you know, tell the story for children, for school people, that, you know, we even have this children university, and there the professors, the researchers come and tell, well, about their subject, and children see that, well, these people are like any other people, and they're doing very interesting stuff, so they are also creating a story. And when we come to business, as I said, it's the same. It's like these people are acting as selling points, as brands that attracts the companies and shows a level of the quality. But it's, of course, because they are really the top scientists. So this is how I believe the university can really tell a story about itself.
Thank you. And Henrika, as head of the marketing chair at the SMK, most probably this is your primary responsibility. What would you state?
First of all, I would say that the example I gave to you a bit earlier, the success story of student initiative and the example of cooperation between business and students can show that there are two ways of telling stories. One is that when university is telling story for business, for outsource. Another way is when business giving stories, because without both-way communication, we cannot know what business needed, and at the same time, business might not know what university capabilities are. And success stories, it's the way to introduce to everyone what universities can do, what advantages businesses can get after communicating with the universities, after giving them their stories, not necessarily success stories, just stories, and making them into success ones. And as the example of nowadays marketing trends, I can give you how now companies usually advertise their products. Now it's not enough to show just advertising that some kind of medicine or some kind of lifestyle is good. Now usually first goes the story that researchers at certain university or just some researchers found out that something causes something, and that's why you have to use our product. So we can see from all the ways that universities must interact more with businesses and supply them their success stories based on business stories. That's the view.
If I can just develop a bit. You give me 30 seconds. Thank you. I really like the point that you made about the way businesses advertise products, because that is my core competence and I want to develop on this. That the idea is that we've come to a point where you don't merely create an image. You actually need to have the story, but the story does not just limit itself to being based on arguments made by research. It's up to a point where you actually have to make things real, which comes to a point where you actually need a self-sufficient product which can actually tell a story on its own. Because in this time of transparency, you will it develops very fast and you get to know what the product is like instantly. So what I mean by that is that businesses are not just looking for new developments of existing products that can be communicated with advertising. What they're looking at is new products that can communicate themselves. And that is something where the universities are, I believe, they have a good potential because they can, as I said, do interdisciplinary things. It's not just developing in your industry, it's combining them and thus creating something that is not just communication. So research is good for arguments, but we're approaching a moment where you actually need to create products that communicate themselves.
Can I continue? Okay, I would like to continue from this. When it comes to the storytelling in general, I think that even in this panel it's already been pointed out that it's a very effective way and we should be using this in promoting university business cooperation. But what we are actually talking about here is that what makes a good story in this context. So some of the components have already been brought out, like the multidisciplinarity. There is another thing I would like to point out, which has to be taken into account if we think about the relevant components of this, of a good storytelling. And this is namely that we are now mostly talking about the external marketing. So how to make the product or regardless of the product's nature, whether it is consultative research or something related to lifelong learning, how we make it in the way that the customer feels that it's that they can buy it. But there is actually something that we have to take into account when we talk about this whole concept of knowledge transfer. As we stand on the surface of academia and business world, we have actually two target groups, and we have to market, we have to take build stories that are connecting the two market groups. And now I'm actually referring the thing I said in the beginning, that while we started to develop technology transfer operations in Albania, we noticed two things. First, that the companies didn't know about the products the university have. So there is automatically something we can do with marketing. But secondly, there was a problem inside the university. The researchers, research managers, and faculty heads, they couldn't work out with the concept of technology transfer. So if you think about it, is this whole thing as a production line. It all starts from an individual researcher and his or her rationale. Then it gets to the second level, which could be the faculty manager. Then, if there is a technology transfer office, that's the second phase, that's the third phase. They have their own rationale. and then it gets to the company, and if we are talking about a customer business or whatever, there might be still a potential end user. So I think that we should make epic stories which are combining all of these elements, and we could acquire that target by using, for example, use cases. So as we know, the use cases are, well, I'm a little bit talking about outside the official definition of use case, but it's like a stereotype or this kind of simplified archetype of somebody. And like in consumer business, we use use cases for determining that 50 years old guy with this and this kind of attitude towards services, we call him, let's say, Billy Bob. So Billy Bob could be a use case in a particular marketing project. So I think we could start building these storytelling parts from these components, that what will be the rationale of one individual researcher all the way up to the end customer of the company. And we actually have all those elements already. We can just, and we can take the multidisciplinarity into account. We don't have to refer necessarily to a single individual project. We can actually make it up. That's what the marketing departments are doing. The use case doesn't have to be based on any kind of real-life case. It just has to be credible. So I think that we could actually create some of the use cases from our imagination, and some of them, in some phase, could be parts of the real success stories we have now been discussing during the day. So my point is to kind of wrap this up, this angle into one piece, that I would like to see the intra-university paradigm here as well as rather than just concentrating on the external marketing.
I think we had a nice conversation during the dinner last night about what happened here in Riga lately and who is the expert. Who are the one who is setting the agenda? And it's not the real expert anymore. It's the expert out there, the one who is good enough writing, Facebook, Twitter, even blog. We have an issue in Norway that we want our experts or people to be the one who've been asked if something happens, if we have a situation, if something goes wrong, something good. We always looking for the real experts, the real people that have the academic background, professors or whatever. And that's why I'm saying it's hard to make up stories that people could look through. And if that comes wrong out, or if we do something wrong, somebody will take that and really use it for all what it's worth, and that can ruin everything because of the social medias. I think if the university had to be sure of what's out there and try to really be the expert, to show the people that we are the one who should, together with the business, together with all of them, to take credit for what's real. Not because I think we are in a world right now that everybody becomes an expert just as you say that you have something to say about it. And I think that's the biggest challenge for the university right now. We are not fast enough. Somebody is more fast than us.
And my point is that I would like to a little bit contradict to my colleague that yes, in classical marketing we are very much used to show everything better than it is. And from university side, yes, you can show to the society that you are better than you are, or you can say to the school people that you're better than you are, just to attract them. But when it comes to business, if you say that you are better really than you are, then you can give the results, then you can do the research, the business will find out that very, very quickly and will never work with you. And that's why I think when we talk about marketing, about the storytelling in the context of the universities, everything has to be very rational and very real and based on real capabilities, not some kind of imaginations and things like that. And we have this issue now in Lithuania that some universities are really telling much more than they are really doing, but as the colleague said, everything now, it's, you can find out everything in social media, and after several days everyone is discussing that what one university announced was really not true, but they just wanted to be nicer than they really are. And I shortly want to tell one example that we had this summer, and it's continuing. We are now in negotiation with one huge American company regarding one of our patents. And we had a very strange experience, because there are 3 researchers around the world that in a very similar time made very similar inventions, and they, patented them, and one of them is our researcher. And that these researchers know about each other because they participate in the same conferences. And what that company did, they visited all 3 researchers and all 3 institutions this summer, just to speak to the administration, to the heads of the university, to the lab, and then they made a decision with which one they will go further in negotiation. So in this case, they just wanted to see by themselves, because they have, very similar offers, and just to see, which ones will be the easier to work with, which ones we can trust. So, and in this case, you are not able to tell them anything more than you really are, because they are just want the transparency.
Very short comment, if possible. Success story is already success story. You don't need makeup for it.
I think there was a small misunderstanding here. Success story is one thing. It's based on a real-life case. But we are not talking about, at least I kind of interpreted that we are talking about the storytelling, the use of storytelling as a marketing tool in general. And the point I have to reformulate what I was just saying a moment ago. I didn't mean that we are claiming to be better or something else that we actually are. What I wanted to say that we have the portfolio of cases, but if we want to use this storytelling as a marketing tool, and we want to take all the aspects into account, like the multidisciplinary, then it could be then it could help us to make this kind of theoretical cases. And the reason is that if we want to refer to only real-life cases, we have to make a huge amount of different storytelling events or epics in order to point out that we can serve a large amount of customers. So the use cases we are not lying if we are using use cases. Use case is something that is not an actual event, but it could be. It's this kind of a theoretical, like a statistical sample or statistical conclusion of somebody who is doing something in this process. I just wanted to suggest that we could make this kind of story in order that it would represent as large sample of the university know-how and the process itself, because the process is something which is also really important. Not to kind of fake anything that the university is doing, but this is just a suggestion.
Guys, I want to jump in your discussion, because I think that the storytelling for the success stories or well-known professors, that is the easiest part. You have to do practically nothing. I think the most difficult part is to create the reality And these storytelling aspects are, to my mind, the most complex and the most important, because you don't have a success story for each day, and you don't have the arguments if all the cases are based on really real stories and the networking. It's not helping to build completely new reality and to go strategically for the university business cooperation and to build the reality before reality comes. And that is the point in a storytelling which I think is the most important for the future, how to build the new stories when they are not there, in fact.
I just realized that Elina has brought me into a company of people from the universities. Welcome. As I said, as I represent the dark side, I will continue to do so. And I believe that, first of all, I did understand, well, at least me personally, the idea of you suggesting of using a system to show the process of the university as an analog to a marketing department. And again, I do believe that what was said earlier, that we do not need to make a marketing department out of the university. No. What I would like to add to this discussion is to say that what I would expect from a university is to be open about it, to be open about what it is or what it can be. It does not necessarily have to be a marketing department, but what I do believe that the business expects, at least from my own experience from the industry that I come from, is they want the university not just to represent or offer what it has offered the whole time. The times have changed in the sense that we need to understand what kind of product or service needs to be provided by the university, including what kind of people does the university facilitate and educate, not just on behalf of researchers. What I believe is you coming from the universities, you see that as a major unique selling proposition. And I do admit that it is, but it is not the only resource that you have at the university. And I believe that the ideas come not only from the people who do the research, but are actually the people who are studying in the universities. And I believe that the students perhaps are even a more important resource at some point or stage than the researchers and then the staff itself. So what I mean to say by this is that it is very, very important that to create a story, just as stories use metaphors, for example, to tell things, or archetypes or myths, we need to understand that the businesses do not just need people who are good at what they are doing, but what they are seeking more and more, and I will use IDO terminology from Tom Kelly, who said that what the businesses need are T-shaped people. You're probably familiar with the idea of the T-shaped people, or no? T-shaped. It means that on the vertical side, you need to have in-depth about what you represent, the industry that you want to work in or you're educating yourself to. And then the horizontal plane means that you need to understand a lot of bits and need to be able to cooperate and work with other people from other people who are in-depth in their industries. So I believe that that is very important for the university to create a new success story. You don't just need to provide the services you've been providing at a better pace or better packaged. I believe what needs to be done is to come up with new success stories is, as I said, to be open about this. And multidisciplinary, as you said, is just one point. What I mean to say by this is that more and more businesses are not just in need of one particular thing in niche, in depth. What they are looking at is the overlapping of certain things where the innovation truly comes. That's my point.
Okay, I do believe, I totally agree with these points. However, I still want to keep my stance in a couple of things I said before. Let me make a very simple example, and this is not like contradictory to what you said, but about how to make these cases, how to make these stories. It's not necessarily completely useless idea. If you think about this, well, in our universities, I think that our customer pool already knows us. But let's think about a university that has a relatively new TTO. So the companies around the university don't necessarily even know how to contact them. So it's actually something that you can really easily create, that you create a story how the university was contacted in this and this kind of case. Let's say that we have a medical company, they have a problem of magnetism in one of their production lines. So then we make this that the company senior researcher contacts this person in the TTO and how the process gets started. So these kind of stories, they could be based on a real life, and there might be actually the real problem and the real project that this magnetism problem was solved by the university, but however originally the TTO doesn't even existed. So it went actually through some kind of informal way of communication, which is actually happening even in our university all the time. But the point is that this kind of, if we create a little more elements, it will help the companies to understand that who will be the right party to contact and how does the university react to their business's problems. So, and then this is one component, how to contact the customer service. Then we can actually add the all remaining parts of the stories about the university itself, and it can be like it was described the moment ago.
Thank you very much. And to sum both roundtables up, for me it seems that we have concluded that the skill set and the mindset somehow changes, and for the successful university business cooperation we need some kind of superhuman with an engineering background driving the idea, knowing how to sell and knowing how to communicate. And all the other departments, they're just assisting to this. And we can continue to discuss this during the lunch, and I invite all of you to join. And hopefully that next half of a year we will see a lot of superhumans and a lot of success stories to show. And I hope that we all be able to meet some of them. So thank you very much for coming, and see you during lunchtime.